So, you're with your honey and you're making out. Reading the phone rings. Ooh, answer it. And the voice is...
What are you doing with my daughter?
Ooh, tell her girl. And she say...
My dad's dead.
Then who was phone?
Hello and welcome to The Spoops, the premier spot on the internet where we celebrate failed horror. As I was trying to explain to a employee at Michael's just about what Spoopy was, because my wife would randomly introduce him and say that I was doing a podcast about spoopy things and then wandered off, leaving me to finish that interaction. Thank you, wife.
Oh, yeah, no. It's lovely when people in the real world are like, what's spoopy? And it's like, do you have an hour?
Or
listen to the podcast.
or my personal favorite, people ask me, how do we spell the podcast? And it's like poopy, but with an S.
Well, and it's not even, we're not spoopy. We're just spoops. It's an anagram.
Yeah.
It's spelled the same forwards and back. Anyways.
Like when you have the poops, but with an S.
Speaking of spelling, we would love for you to check out that website. So please spell it correctly. That is the Spoopspod, TheSpoopspod.com to look up our website.
And that is correct. He wins $1,000. Thank you for attending this year's useless spelling bee.
So yeah, please feel free to check that out. That is the premier way to listen into our podcast. Definitely one of the best. The stories are posted there, able to be edited, and we really love the engagement that you can get there.
Absolutely. I feel like I channeled a little too much Andy Bernard energy on that one, and I apologize to everybody who had to witness that.
Josh, why don't you tell them about our listening party promo?
Yes, absolutely. I will tell you all about that listening party promo. Stop it, Felicia. All right. So we're having a listening party. So if you can get four of your friends together plus you equals 5, we will record for you a personalized intro. We will greet each one of your party members. We will tell each one of them that we are proud of them for what they are doing, unless, of course, you specify that we should not be proud of somebody inside of that group, and we will for sure call them out for you. And we will give them an introduction to what the podcast is.
You know, yeah, it's really great if you want to do an intervention, just an intervention brought on by the Spoops.
We're here because we love you.
Hi, Deborah. Hi, Deborah. Bradley and I don't know you, but we heard that you have a concerning problem. And we have a concerning podcast. So it works out.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, definitely reach out to us. You can do that in multiple different ways. Comment on any of our platforms. You can reach out via email, through the website. There's a little Q&A kind of form. You can reach out there. We'd love to connect, love to have that happen. Couple other goals that we have. We have 100 listening/view goals, which we're getting very close to. And
so close.
In which we're going to actually dramatically act out one of our favorite stories. Which it's still up in the air. As soon as that 100 gets hit, we'll have to make a tough decision, and we'll let you know.
Computers. 1 cent computers. 1 cent computers.
Maybe. We'll see.
Buddy man.
And then also, we have the 500 views /listens/plays goal, which is we're going to go cryptid hunting.
Yeah. We'll leave our ivory towers where we're well insulated away from the masses, and we will go into the field, and we will find and bring back
the Waterford sheep squatch.
And if we can't bring it back, we'll at least bring back a story.
Indeed. So please feel free to connect with us in those ways. Before we continue, I think it's important to mention that everything that we're talking about today gets pulled from
making Felicia shudder.
Sorry. That it gets pulled from the Troll Pasta Wiki, as well as the Cryptid Wiki. And of course, we have some content generated by Bing.
Yeah, nope. We've got our AI story generated by Bing at the end. Bing, just such a good ChatGPT, does such a good job with these.
Oh, absolutely. And then what about your conspiracy? Anything we need to cite there?
Yes, a couple of podcasts. First and foremost, This Paranormal Life, thank you. Also, thank you, Wikipedia, for confirming the details on that one. And that one YouTuber whose video I didn't watch, but he drew a really upsetting picture of Tarrare in a 2D form, and then that made me go, I guess I should do that today.
Perfect. And special thanks, as always, to the lovely users of Quora and Reddit. You're mainly a horrifying cesspool of questions I never even had. But sometimes you come in clutch, and that's what we're here for.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Josh, why don't you kick us off with our first story, 2 sponges and 1 pineapple.
The episode started with 2 sponges sleeping in the bed. After some minutes, they wake up and they went to the living room. But there was only a chair and they started to fight. One of them went to work and the other one stayed and watched a movie. When the other one returned, they saw that the sponge wasn't in the living room. He had left him a text on the table, but the text is not shown to the viewer. And the sponge at home started to be angry and went to bed. When the other sponge returned, he was so tired that he went to bed. The other one wasn't there. He went to sleep. A black screen appeared. After that, the scene continued. There was another sponge with a gun staring at the sleeping one. The scene went black again, and a scene of a sponge sleeping appeared. A bullet was fired into the forehead. After that scene showed the other sponge sleeping quietly in his bed. The scene showed that the sun was coming out, and Squidward went out of his house. Squidward went to the back of his house, where there was a field of crops, and was at terror was the other sponge dead. He started to scream. He saw that behind him there was another sponge with an axe. He killed Squidward and hid their body in Squidward's basement. And the episode ended. 2 sponges, 1 pineapple, folks. Ba ba bum ba ba bum.
What? I spent the first half of that trying to ask myself legitimately. I was picturing live action, and I'm like, sponge on a table, sponge on a table, sponge on a table. Wait, it got up?
And this is why, folks, it's important for you to go ahead and make sure your sponges remain free from bacteria, or else they'll gain sentience.
So,
Yes, I know, Bradley. Join me inside of this weird little headspace of what? Welcome to Serial Season 6. Here in Serial Season 6, we're going to dive into the head space of the sponge that murdered the other sponge. What caused this ultimate betrayal of species to species? Was the other sponge framed? And was Squidward actually secretly responsible?
I just, is this just a very bad SpongeBob thing? Is that what we're trying to get at here?
Yes, absolutely.
So-
Squidward is deliberately mentioned by name.
Yeah,
they just
but-
didn't want to reference SpongeBob.
Yeah, and there's 2 sponges.
Uh-huh.
Not sea sponges, have you? Sponges.
So how did the writer come across this episode? And what medium are they viewing it, or are they experiencing it in a dream? Is this a sleep paralytic like state?
My
many questions.
sleep paralysis demon is a redacted episode of SpongeBob.
I think, obviously, the most logical conclusion here is that they encountered it on the Wayback Machine. Because
It's always the
Wayback
Wayback
the
Machine.
Wayback Machine. Mm-hmm. So they went to the
Fountain of
Wayback
knowledge.
Machine of Nickelodeon, and then they found this on the homepage. You go to the timestamp afterwards, there's just a little message that said, whoopsie, tee, writer's strike.
Well, folks.
So, do you guys remember the old creepypasta about it's all I can remember from it is like the thumbnail of Squidward's face that's just like really up close and hyper realistic, and it was just I just feel like this is-
Hyper realistic.
it's just him staring into the screen, and then supposedly like some people see like other images in the course of the episode of like SpongeBob getting murdered and some other stuff. I feel like this is like the smaller, less threatening cousin of that.
Okay. No, see, what happened was that particular creepypasta you're talking about got really popular. So everybody was like, I'm going to be the next Stephen King So I'm going to start off my horror career with the most original idea that has ever been heard of, a redacted SpongeBob episode. Here's my one. A sponge murders another sponge for no reason whatsoever.
And then murders Squidward.
Bum, bum, da, da, dun.
Okay.
Season 6 of Serial. I'm so excited for it.
I don't have anything to even say. Like,
don't either.
There's nothing that I can add to this because it's so like I'm so confused about the framing, the location. Like,
Absolutely.
Sponge goes to bed. Next Sponge goes to bed, but Sponge isn't in bed. Where'd Sponge go?
This sounds like a prosecutor describing a murder scene to a jury.
And for, may I next present my next piece of evidence, Judge? Yes, absolutely. Okay. So in this redacted SpongeBob episode, you can see clear and malicious intent. Yes. See the episode. Make sure you're writing this down. And jury, please notice this is the heinous act of a killer. The episode started with 2 sponges sleeping in a bed, and after some minutes, they wake up. I understand that this is confusing. Why couldn't I specify the number of minutes? I can't help you there.
Also, who's the second sponge?
Doesn't SpongeBob like rip himself in half fairly consistently and have like multiple sponges?
Oh, I thought it was just going to be Sponge Berta.
Sponge Burdette. As far as I
Crime
can,
of passion.
okay. As far as I can tell, the murder legitimately happened because there was one chair.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, that is the only thing that caused the whole thing. There were 2 beds.
No, one bed.
No, 2 beds.
No,
They keep
sleeping
waking up
in the bed.
Oh, okay. So one bed, one
One chair.
Yeah,
One pineapple.
one pineapple. There can only be one.
Exactly.
Oh. Is this the
But I
this
think
is the Mihoimanoi?
But I think there's 3 sponges. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I lost track. But so
It says
you
2
have
sponges.
the other one returned. He saw the sponge wasn't in the living room. He left him a text on the table, but the text is not shown to the viewer. That sponge went sleeping. The other one returned, so tired, and went to sleep. The other one wasn't there. He went to sleep. Black screen appeared. After the scene continued, there was the other sponge with a gun staring into the other one sleeping.
See, I think in the cast, I think in like the cast list, there's just Sponge and other sponge. I think that's the actual like first name, last name. Like,
Okay, so
know.
the sponge, other sponge.
Sponge.
Okay,
That's how I read it, at least.
gotcha. Well, this is a 1.
This is a 0.5. Yeah, this is probably
Okay, well,
the worst
actually,
we've seen.
I want to state some things here. I think there's positives in this story. Let me bring them to light. Okay,
Please.
Allow me to illustrate to you why I think this is a 2.5. Okay.
Whoa, that's a jump.
Okay.
Okay. So first off, the non-linearness of the storytelling, I think, works for the short form of the content. So without the surrounding context or anything like that one, your brain is left unsettled as it's trying to solve pieces of the puzzle while you're still going, right? So I would say around the time that my brain was reading A Black Screen Appeared, I was trying to mentally picture the previous scene and projecting to the next scene and trying to understand what everything was going on, right? I think there's something to work for the choppiness of the storytelling, right? I think there's that to it. I also like that the argument is never, like the dialogue is never voiced.
Right.
I like that it's almost like you're watching an episode but without sound, right? So I like that kind of disjointedness of it.
Like, I guess, like, when you're saying this, it reminds me of, like, you know, the original movies where, like, something would happen and a black screen with text would appear.
Yeah.
Showing what they said or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think more of like
still not going to raise my score, but I can see.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I will state I like the accuracy of the fighting, right? I like the fact that they just start off on a bad foot because there's only one chair, and then as things go on, that both parties aren't ever able to really get back onto shore footing until eventually it just escalates. If they could have like a conversation, maybe they could calm it down. But because each side keeps escalating things a little bit more, there's a certain bit of realism to the argument that isn't normally in our stories.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
I feel like I've lost Bradley completely on this one.
I'm sorry. It's just I'm so confused.
I'm gonna be honest with you. My score is not gonna change, but I will say, and I think this is fair. I think that this exact concept could be taken. I think this is a great idea in the wrong medium. I think if you could do this in like short form, like an animated short of some kind, you know, where you get the real like the shock impact of like, you know, like 3 seconds of like this descriptive scene of like one sponge standing over the other holding a gun, cut to black, cut back to shot, but it's the empty bedroom with just the dead sponge on the bed. I think that in a visual medium, really freaking cool. I think here it just doesn't flow.
Yeah.
You know?
I think if this was like, you know, a stop motion like animation kind of thing.
Right, yeah.
Really cool. It's kind of like when we're
Could you imagine this like claymation?
like it was the one thing that you were talking about, like the really scary YouTube video where it looked like, you know, your YouTube was being hacked and your computer was being hacked.
Oh my gosh.
But
yeah, we have to react to that if you guys haven't seen it.
Explaining it lame.
Yeah.
Experiencing it is a different level.
What is that even called? It's something 666, and we should definitely react to it at some point because it is so dumb, and it's a beautiful like look into old YouTube and what we thought computers could do.
Do you know what Satanists fear more than anything else?
666?
No, the number 111.
Why is that?
Because it destroys all their fun. 66 chicks turns into 777. And do you know what the angle that they hate the most?
90 degree?
180 degrees. It turns their upside down cross right side up.
It picks me up, turns me around.
And now we have to pay for a CCLI account.
Okay, fine. I'm giving it a 2.5. I'm being stubborn.
You can be stubborn. You're just stubbornly wrong.
So that averages out to like a 1.25, I think, is where we land.
Which is still resoundingly low. All right.
It's really not.
I thought it was at least a somewhat interesting story, but I can see, gentlemen, that it wasn't.
It's interesting. It's confusing, and it's not scary.
I think I'm coming to the realization that Bradley and I are exactly the same kind of picky customer. So there are going to be days where you just lose.
Well, folks, it's today. Hey, you know what? If you're on YouTube and you're on my side, go ahead and put down your 3-point essay for why I'm right.
I think we should put this out as a challenge for rewrite. I think I think we should pick this one and stand by, even if the other stories are really good. I think we should stand by this one because if someone manages to turn this into something that's not a 1 for us, that is a feat.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I'd love to see it. Well, speaking of things that I'd love to see, it would be Bigfoot. Now,
we're doing Bigfoot today?
Yeah, today is Bigfoot. Now, I guess I was confused because I always thought that Bigfoot was the North American entity. Like, when people say Bigfoot, I picture, you know, North America guy, like, you know, the classic picture with the,
he's what I expect to run into on the Appalachian
accurate.
Trail.
No, that is not Bigfoot.
Every culture has a Bigfoot story.
Exactly. Bigfoot is the overarching term for the humanoid hairy creatures that patrol forests and other things. So, like, you know, going down. So, yeah, it's the term Bigfoot is used to describe a legendary race of ape men all over the world. It's sometimes synonymized with Sasquatch, which is the American version of that. So when you think of what you see, it would be Sasquatch.
Squares and rectangles, essentially.
Basically. Yeah. So, you know, some famous big...
Some famously big feet.
Yeah, some famously big feet that we have, of course, are like the Yeti, Sasquatch, skunk ape.
Love the skunk apes.
Who doesn't love the skunk apes?
They live in Florida, man.
Almas,
That makes sense.
Hibigons, And one of my favorites, Swamp Stalker of Boggy Creek.
That
Please
was my
tell me you
nickname
have
in high
more for
school.
that.
Yes, I have.
Oh, lovely.
I have so much more for that. But before we kind of continue, I want to continue on explaining, the rectangle before we talk about a square. So Bigfoots in general, heavy bipedal humanoid apes, stands around 8 to 10 feet tall, depending on the species. Hibagon is actually the shortest, coming in around 4 to 5 feet. They have long arms, dense fur, and ranging in colors depending on where they're found, like most creatures. It has very large feet, surprisingly, or not. It has very large feet, hence the name Bigfoot, which is surprising to no one. Some people believe that Bigfoot is a descendant of the prehistoric giant orangutan, Gigantopithecus. Which is just a big old orangutan from prehistoric time. Think like, how there used to be giant sloths. There are also just giant old orangutans that were walking around. Yeah. Others do believe, though, that it is a prehistoric hominid, such as the Neanderthal man. Just, got stuck in a cave somewhere and they're back out and rolling around. Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, no. So we could dive into all these, and I think eventually we will. But I want to really start with the Swamp Stalker of Boggy Creek. And actually, interesting fact before we hop into there, the Waterford sheep squatch that we're going to be going on the hunt for at 500 technically falls into this lane of hairy humanoids.
Maybe it falls into Goatman lore.
That too. It just depends.
I mean, it's literally right by a covered bridge.
Yes, that is fair. But the Squatch,
you know what they say.
It's half and half. We got Sheepman and Squatch.
Well,
so
at what point does hair stop being hair and become wool?
Exactly. That we're gonna have to shear it and find out. Shear and see. You know what they say.
I'm so excited to pull an animal man out of the ceiling of the covered bridge and shave him.
So, anyways, the Swamp Stalker of Boggy Creek, which is just a very scary looking Bigfoot. Just like
wow, yeah,
very intense.
You have to appreciate the fog coming in there too.
Yeah. So, also known as just the Boggy Creek Monster for short.
Sure, Boggy Creek Monster.
So yeah, Swamp Stalker of Swamps.
The swamp creature of Boggart Creek.
So the Swamp Stalker,
ridiculous.
the Swamp Stalker of Boggy Creek, also known as the Fouke Monster or Southern Sasquatch. It's a large brown humanoid that lives near Fouke, Arkansas, I should say, and bears a strikingly eerie resemblance to the Momo seen in Louisiana, Missouri. It has made major news, and tracks have indeed been found. It is very vicious and attacks humans. Many people have been terrified by the creature, and local legends of an ape-like creature date back to 1946, when it was called the Jonesville Monster, based on the town where it was initially sighted. So the Fouke Monster was the inspiration of a 1972 documentary film, The Legendary of Boggy Creek, and it's had some other like major kind of run-ins with media. So there, of course, like any good Sasquatch story, there's people who look at the footprints and say they're fake. There's people that just, go on and say that this actually isn't a real thing. But I don't know. It's when you have so much news stories. Like I'm gonna read some newspaper clippings and just really enjoy the journalists who wrote these. So you have the Fouke Monster seen again, like very bland. Then you have Fouke family terrorized by hairy quotes monster.
It's just like their neighbor in the trailer park.
Then this one, strange footprints spotted again. So, it's just, it's kind of, what we had talked about. Oh gosh, the Bunny Man, where, they had to actually develop or spend time to actually develop websites about this. Fouke County has done the same thing for the Fouke Monster, the Boggy Creek Monster. And yeah, it basically kills livestock, roughs up humans, and is just an overall menace.
It's interesting to me that he's violent, because most Squatch-based lore that I'm aware of just paints Bigfoot as I know him as just a benevolent creature who just avoids people.
That is Sasquatch.
Just specifically Sasquatch.
Specifically, because like Yetis can tend to be on that more timid side, but there are a couple that are a bit more vicious.
So he's just got Sasquatch just has mean drunk uncles, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
Now, do you guys remember back to maybe a year or two ago when we had professional squatchers in our area?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
No. We had professional squatchers in the area because somebody reported seeing Bigfoot out in Cambridge Springs.
Oh.
And it was through that news article that I read that I learned two very important things. Number one, the leading theory on Big Feet right now is that they hop on the railway. They train hop. They train hop, and that's how they travel such great distances being unseen, is that they ride in the railway. Number two,
Are they wearing newsboy caps and carrying sticks with all their belongings over their shoulder too?
Yeah, no. The sticks, but the hats are pedantic. And number two, can you guess what the favorite candy of Bigfoot are?
Oh, give me a minute.
Cowboy candy.
It's cowboy. What's cowboy candy?
What is cowboy candy?
Candied jalapenos.
I have a new obsession. Thank you.
They're actually
That
really
sounds
good.
amazing.
They are really good.
As a guy who likes sweet heat, that sounds awesome.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna say mounds. Just a guess.
Almond Joy.
No, mounds.
Mounds.
The almonds are a deal break.
Well,
No, they're a tooth break.
my original guess was Snickers, but we're all wrong.
Because Snickers satisfies.
You're not you when you're hungry. It's actually just a dude. It's just a guy who's really mad.
Well, that's why it's not their favorite candy. They want to keep the animal power.
Right.
It's Kit Kats. Kit Kats are their favorite, according to professional squatchers.
Is it the crunch or the break, or do they eat,
Break
or
me
do
off
they eat them like a
like I do.
psycho and just the whole bar?
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Now,
That's so wrong.
Bradley, I want to state that I was this close to making my conspiracy theory for this week, our Bigfoot interdimensional, and then I saw that you were talking about Bigfoot this week, and I was like, no.
Gotta save it.
I will save that for like 50 episodes from now, because this is the only reason that I can think of for why Bigfoot hasn't been found yet. They live in a different dimension, and they come here for our mushrooms.
They're like they come for the mushroom. They're with the angels.
Yeah. They come out with their own little the truffle pigs, the truffle hunter pigs. They just slip out of liminal space with truffle hunter pigs, grab what they want, and then slip back out.
Absolutely.
Oh man. So, what are we feeling in terms of scariness of the big feet?
Monkeys terrify me in a primal kind of way that I can't begin to express. So I'm rating them a full-on 5. If I saw a Bigfoot, I'm gonna have to burn my pants, because there's no saving them.
Should have wore the brown pants.
I'm gonna go with like a 2.5, because I think it'd be terrifying, but I think you treat it the same way you do a bear.
Bears are terrifying.
No, they are, but
How is a bear not a 5 for you?
there are two things you do to survive a bear attack. One, you try to make yourself as big as possible.
Those are black bears. Not brown bears.
I didn't say brown bears.
You
I just said bears. And so make yourself as big as possible. And if that doesn't work, you pop your buddy in the kneecap and you keep running.
Said Steven, laughing in a way that was like, oh, wait, I'm the buddy.
Yeah, I'm the one.
Well, I knew if I didn't do that, there's no way I'm outrunning him. I don't need to be the fastest. I just need to be faster than
me.
faster than the person I, injure.
Bro. Just like The Walking Dead season 2 all over again. Poor Otis.
So yeah, 2.5 for me.
That's fair. You're gonna judge
Man,
me
Bradley,
for
you
this.
woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm rating everything twice what you're rating things.
Just wait. I'm gonna go even lower again.
What?
Because I have grown up with like bears.
Was getting tackled by men and
gilly
ghillies.
men.
I've been
Exactly.
braced for it.
So like,
I've trained for this
and
moment.
I grew up with black bears in my backyard all the time, and like I have this weird, cuddly, benevolent energy that surrounds the picture of Sasquatch in my head, and I don't think anything's ever gonna change that. I don't know why, but I just picture a large, cuddly monkey dude, and I'm like,
Now,
that
see,
sounds awesome.
I really want to take Stephen Squatch hunting now, and just like you see him go, oh, come here, and then all of a sudden you just see Stephen arm go.
I just get
flying past your face.
No, you just see Steven get picked up.
Like I'm a giant, unglorified toothpick.
These Kit Kats are the worst.
Snap me off a bit of that Kit Kat bar.
Snap me off a piece of that athlete's cream. Snap me off a piece of that dental paste. Are you guys not Office fans? Is this what I'm learning?
I am, but I've missed this
Andy
one.
Bernard from that one episode, like right at the halfway through season 3.
And what do you mean, are you Office fans? You're not even an Office fan. You just have an obsessed wife.
He's got you there.
You say tomato, I say tomato. My personality is my wife.
That's a happy marriage right there. That's good. I love that for you, man. I'm giving it a 1. I'm sorry. Nothing's ever going to change the warm, fuzzy feelings that I have about the Squatch.
Monkeys are terrifying. Primates are one unhinged day away. Have you watched the movie? Nope.
I like Sasquatch so much that I use Dr. Squatch soap, man. Like, this is a hill I'm ready to die on.
The people who got mauled to death by chimpanzees.
It's because you like Sasquatch.
Do you know how small a chimpanzee is? If I could win a fight against any primate, it would probably be a chimpanzee. Right. But I'm not winning that fight because they're biting my face off.
Yeah, don't give him a reason to bite you.
But Bigfoot is like a 6-foot version of a chimpanzee.
It's like the rake.
He's not biting my face off. He's biting me into chunk-sized pieces and then spitting me out for his children to eat.
You don't just always carry like trail mix and bananas to feed to cryptids if you come across them?
No!
A, you're a bad friend of nature. B, you're the worst.
Cryptids aren't nature.
You never bring snacks.
No, I so legitimately do not like Bigfoot that I am on the record for saying if I ever see Bigfoot, it is my sole principle to kill him. So A, I can end the debate, and B, so that I get one menace off of this earth.
You feel about Sasquatch the way that I do about most mosquitoes.
Like if I am driving home and I see Bigfoot on the road, I am 100% killing myself in that car to get rid of Bigfoot. Because my Mitsubishi Mirage will not survive that. It's going to be like a moose.
Bigfoot will survive that. You will not.
He'll be dead. He'll be fine.
But I will I will not have control over my body at that moment. All I will know is, yes, proof! Wham!
You'll just drop a brick on the accelerator and roll out the side. Just.
Well, Stephen, I'm getting a little thirsty. So what do we got in front of us today?
So I will say this initially before you even sniff, because I feel it is pertinent to allow you this simple joy. This is actually pretty good. I've had this. I enjoy it a lot. The one thing that I will say, it is not an energy drink. It is not a soda. It is a brand that I've never recognized or seen before.
Is it coffee?
It's a coffee adjacent. Yes. Which Josh was not ready for.
I was expecting sweet.
That's a mistake. Oh, he's going in for the sip already.
Is that nitro brewed coffee?
Yes, it is. You've got a great palate.
It just tastes cold.
Well,
and chocolatey.
I will have to microwave it for you. But, yeah, no, this is just nitro cold brew. Actually, it's from a brand that I've never seen, and admittedly, I was just curious, so I decided to pick some up.
I mean, it's not bad. I definitely like the way that it, like the after waves hit the tongue.
Fair. Yeah, there's a nice subtle aftertaste. It's definitely a nitro brew. It's not like a classic cold brew where there's like that residual acidity on the end.
Yeah.
I feel like it's got a clean finish.
Just because otherwise I will forget it. Special thank you to a friend of the show, my wife, who won't listen to an episode, but did find us these fantastic mugs.
Yes.
The Creep It Real on the one side and the skeleton peace sign. And also, thank you to my wife for finding Felicia for me.
Felicia is lovely.
Yeah.
Felicia is also a strong reminder for me that we should not keep petable stage props near you. So the brand on this, it is Lave
Felicia's
Aza
nose
organic cold brew, organic nitro cold brew with 100% Arabica coffee. It is a medium roast. It's USDA organic, so you can feel good about it. And it is actually part of the National Rainforest Alliance, People and Nature.
This is the first cup of coffee I've had in 2.5 months because my doctor told me I couldn't have coffee for 3 months.
Me and your doctor should just never be placed in a room together. I feel like it would be
I am
like
enjoying this coffee
showdown.
on a spiritual level right now.
I'm so happy to hear that because this is also my opportunity to inform the audience of something that you already know. Enjoy this for now, this journey to Capri, as they call it on the can, because beginning with episode 10, things are sliding off the rails and we're not coming back. I've got an Amazon cart ready to go, full of some of the most depraved things you can possibly imagine. I will inform you, there is a grass-flavored drink in that cart.
I think grass-flavored soda. Me and it are going to gel. I'm afraid about the barf-flavored soda.
So who told you?
Katie.
No, Katie didn't tell me. I watched Kate and JC do their weird soda flavors, and I'm like, he's 100% doing everything off of this list.
There's quite a lot of overlap.
The barf-flavored one, the buttered popcorn is on there.
That's in there.
Buffalo chicken ranch.
Man, some of what you're listing is pretty tame. I found stuff that like you may not have even seen before.
Barf is tame?
Okay, that one's not tame. That one's up there in the top 10.
I was gonna say, I was gonna get very nervous.
Yeah.
Like I was half tempted to be like, no, I'm gonna brave this without the spit bucket. But if barf was tame, then good Lord, I'm gonna need his spit trough.
Now, let me be clear. I did say barf is top 10.
Yeah, I really wanted to
5.
swing back around to that because that's upsetting.
That should keep you on your toes at least a little bit. So enjoy this. And then next episode, actually, here's what I want you guys to do, because I think it would be awesome to engage the audience and for you to have a final moment of just subtle peace to enjoy. I want you to bring your favorite daily pick-me-up drink. And we're going to do a little bit of show and tell with the class. I'm going to bring mine. You should bring yours. It'll be fun. And then starting with episode 10, begin to pray. That's all I can really tell you.
Oh, joy.
Well,
indeed.
Well, okay. Look, I'm going to tell everybody right now. It's going to be a can of Nos. I haven't had that in 3 months either. Oh, and what the relief that will be.
Now, it's my turn to read a story. And the story's entitled You're Next.
Not you are. Possession your.
Yeah, no, just Y-O-U-R.
I have You're Next.
What?
You're Next. I have You're Next. I'm trying to illustrate the You're that's being used. Simultaneous. Oh, that's the dumb thing he said.
Now, it does say that I'm also reading the quotation. Is that true? Or am I just being dumb?
No, Bradley, I think I got distracted. I'm blue.
Okay, cool.
Yabba die.
Cool. As long as I know when to stop. So here we go. You're next. You are out of breath. You have been running from that maniac for hours. You tell yourself, I think I got away from him. You turn around and you notice a sign. It reads, Paradise Valley Cemetery. You wander into the cemetery because you're trying to get away from your perpetrator. You travel 100 meters into this very big cemetery until you notice something strange. There is a freshly dug grave and a tombstone with a name that's covered in dirt. You take the sleeve of your shirt and wipe off the dirt. What you see makes you shiver and panic. It's your name on the tombstone. But before you can respond, you're already gone. Because as soon as you even move a muscle, you hear a sound that sounds like a sword getting swung in the air. You drop dead on the ground with your head rolling around. The perpetrator finally caught up to you, and he starts laughing in a demonic voice.
You fool. You cannot run from death. I am everywhere, and I see you when you catch your last breath.
The perpetrator pulls out a list, and with a skeletal finder, he scratches out your name and writes the name of your mother, who is next on the list.
Not Mom!
Your mom, your mom, your mom, your mom.
You know, this gives me like the Shia LaBeouf music video vibes. Like,
you're walking through the woods late one night.
He gets down on all fours and breaks into a sprint. Shia LaBeouf.
The actual cannibal, Shia LaBeouf.
Stab him in the kidney.
Bro, I'm so mad. This one was really good until the last 10%, and then things slid. I was ready to give this a 4 until your head rolling around, and I was like, no! Why?
Well, yeah, why do you have to make it rhyme? It would have been fine if it didn't rhyme. Yeah, you drop dead on the ground with your head rolling around. And
you drop dead on the ground with your head rolled in around. Wow.
It's like, when did this turn into slam poetry?
With your head rolling around. No, not here anymore. You're dead. Perpetrator gotcha. Taken off the list. Done. Gone. Skeletal finder. Cross you off.
Your mother is
your
next.
mom. Gotta ring your mom from the afterlife.
Also, yeah, that's a great point. How the heck is this story being written?
By whom? For
by
whom?
the perpetrator.
By the perpetrator. That's why it's YOUR next.
I have your next.
I have your next.
Your next moments, they're mine.
I'm going to give this a 2.
Yeah, no, see, it lost me at you're running away from your perpetrator, and then all of a sudden you notice that you're in a cemetery.
No, he didn't notice. He was running around, and then he realized
he went into the cemetery.
He's basically running down the street and goes, "There's a cemetery," and hangs
boy.
a right.
Oh gosh, look, it's a cemetery. I'll be safe in there. The only people who are in there are the dead guys. Also, really appreciate the perpetrator's foreknowledge.
Indeed.
He predicted the whole thing, and he said, oh, okay, if I chase him here and then I park that car on East End Street, so while he's running, he won't be able to go down that way. And I'll just kind of corral him to there and then just go ahead and make sure that the spooky fog's there so that he won't want to go anyplace else other than right to the grave. Make sure that's forward. So I'm going to go ahead and have to buy that in advance. So down like $10,000 for the headstone and the tomb site. Nice of him to conscientiously bury him, though, and not have to have the family pay for the funeral.
Yeah, he's a very cost-effective. Like, this is almost
not cost-effective for him.
No, but we're getting into like Grim Reaper kind of territory, where like he's like, I feel bad. I'm murdering you. Like, your mother's gonna be upset, so I'm gonna murder her too.
Does the Grim Reaper get an employee discount at cemeteries?
Supplier discount?
I would think, yeah. Finder's fee, kind of.
Yeah, you think, yeah.
I wonder if serial killers get to collect a finder's fee. Wow. They're like, we're creating the backbone of your industry here.
Did you hear about that Canadian serial killer who got, I think it was $10,000 for every victim he helped find, put into a trust fund for his wife and kids. So in total, he got them $100,000 in Canadian dollars. Before the public found out about that and lost their ever-living mind that the Canadians were paying
him to reveal his kills.
Yeah.
Now, was this like when he was in captivity?
Yes. Yes.
So basically, they were paying him that money to give the families closure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm kind of fine with it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? If for him, that's
if
his
my
way of giving it up.
tax-paying dollars go to Ted Bundy
No, not to Ted Bundy. To Ted Bundy's kids.
Yeah, no, I'm still not okay with that. Imagine you went to college knowing, oh yes, this is my dad's blood money.
No, not blood money. It would what's the because like blood money is to for the killing.
Finder's fee. This is my dad's.
This is my dad's dug up dirt money.
This is the white pages of killing people. I'm not really sure what you're getting at here.
Well, no, because this is the unearthing of the blood money would be like the money that he got for killing the people.
Yeah, what is the word for that?
What is the word for unearthing? Like, would this be like the airing of the dirty laundry money?
Is this reverse grave robbery pay? I don't yeah.
He got paid to repent?
I think we just found a career that doesn't exist, which is impressive in today's day and age.
You too can get $10,000 from the Canadian.
If you kill a bunch of people and then tell them where the bodies are hid.
I have to pay for college somehow.
Well, just to ground us here, I'm giving this a 2. I'm really upset about it because I wanted this to be so much more. If there was a chapter before this describing the beginning of the chase, the nature of the killer, and if there was better descriptive stuff at the end, concept level, this actually got me a little tense, which doesn't happen with these stories.
Well, and like my biggest issue is when it's like talking like, perpetrator that is using a sword. Like maybe describe him as a samurai or, like then it would make sense. Ooh, yeah.
A freaking scythe.
Yeah.
Dude.
Okay. I'm giving this one a 1. The location.
Wait, no,
Yes.
not valid.
Yes.
Not valid. You gave the first story a 2.5.
2.5.
And you're giving this a 1?
Yeah.
I was just lulled into a false sense of security with that. Thank you, Bradley. What the heck, man?
I'm not gonna lie. I thought the first one was way more engaging than the second one. That's
What
why I
about
put
the
it inside of this
cemetery
story.
setting bothers you so much?
Well, it's because it's
just
everywhere.
No person in the right mind, while they're being chased by a crazy demonic killer, is ever going to be like, yes, I'll be safe in a cemetery.
How do you know?
He had to go into it. He wasn't driven into it.
Wait. Demonic, fine, I can give you that. But if it's just a crazy person, I think a cemetery is not all that bad of a hiding place.
Yeah.
Because of the rows and rows of graves, you're not going to be able to check all of that. And if you can find a big enough mausoleum, you can actually position yourself so you're always out of view.
Yeah, there's great tactical advantage, assuming that you are a skeptic when it comes to the supernatural, because he doesn't know that it's demonic. Well, he might not. He might. The author doesn't give us that information.
Yeah, we don't know if he knows what, or even if this is a demonic presence. I'm assuming since everything is planned out that it has to be, but we don't know that.
A cemetery would be the worst place ever to play hide and seek because the game would just never end.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's such a cliche.
It is a cliche.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So if I'm running away from my life, I don't care if the cemetery has a million good hiding options. I'm going to say, no, I'm being chased by a person who wants to kill me. Maybe I shouldn't go to the final spot of a horror movie. Maybe I'll just go ahead and run to, I don't know, the playground.
So you'd
rather be murdered on the kiddie slide than be murdered in a cemetery.
I'm not saying I'd rather be murdered. I'm just saying, no, I'm not going to be lured into a cemetery while someone's trying to kill me.
My takeaway on this is that you would rather die out in the open than chance your own survival if it meant you might die on a gimmick.
I'm not going to go into a cemetery. It's okay. If I'm running and it doesn't say what else is down the road. I'm assuming it's like most cemeteries, there's stuff around it, like people's houses you could knock on, or I don't know, a McDonald's. It's literally he felt.
Yes, there's a statistical correlation that across the street from every cemetery is a McDonald's.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. We're burying them.
We put you there.
I'm just saying that there has to be a chance that the cemetery, he thought he was safe. So what does the idiot do? Oh, yes, I finally got away from my killer. You know where I'm going to go? A cemetery filled with... Yes, allow me to enjoy my moment of peace. Let me not go to the police. Let me not go find help.
It makes sense.
Does it?
Yeah, because if he's like, I think I've lost him, I can no longer see him, which means he theoretically can no longer see the gentleman running. Gentleman hides behind his tombstone. There is no way that killer would know where that person is.
Yeah, now's a good opportunity to make sure I stay lost in his eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, look. I don't care if there's a chest filled with gold doubloons in sight. If there's somebody who I know is trying to kill me, I'm not going into a cemetery. Not until I go to the police station.
But what if there's not one
Or at
nearby?
least my dad's house.
If you're that close to home, then yeah, clearly.
Well, I'm just going to go get into a car.
But what if your car is back where the killer was?
What if he cut your
Grand
brake
Theft Auto rules.
lines? You're saying I will just carjack someone?
It's an emergency. Rather than go to a cemetery.
Rather than go and try to hide from my life in a cemetery where I'm going to be lured by, oh, wow, look, it's a freshly dug grave. That doesn't seem like a trap. Wow, let me do the classic Christmas Carol thing. Whose grave is it? Ghost of Christmas Future? I don't know. Who is it?
Funny. That's funny.
Oh, it's me. Oh, beans. And then he says this final line. He's like, you fool, you can't outrun death. I'm everywhere. I see you, and when I catch your last breath, he's already dead. Who are you speaking to? His embarrassed ghost? I bet my ghost would be disembodied and embarrassed there. I was like, oh yeah, no, that was dumb of me. Let me stop by the only freshly dug grave.
Your Force ghost
in the
is just
cemetery.
in your Jedi Master robes.
Oh, man. Well, Josh.
Yes, it's a 1.
Tell me about my ancestors.
Bradley, I like how you're the taskmaster when it comes to trying to make me get back on track, because I'm certainly not going to obey the timeline. I'm sorry, Bradley. I'm sorry, Steven. I'm sorry, my wife.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's fun.
Okay, so, Bradley, you have a bit of a reputation. I'm not sure if the listeners of the podcast know this. So, Bradley has the distinctive reputation.
Oh, yes.
Of eating things that he darn well shouldn't.
Yep.
Yeah.
How far down the rabbit hole with story time do we want to go? Because I've got like 4.
Bradley, just give me your highlight reel.
All right. So, in no particular order, I've bore witness to 2 of these, I believe. Regularly. He and I would sit down, and we would buy a McDonald's dinner box each and just devour them. And to be clear, that's like what was in there. It was like 2 Big Macs, 2
Big Macs, 2 cheeseburgers,
4 small fries,
4 small fries, 20-piece nugget.
Yeah, and we would just sit down regularly
cow.
and just massacre that by ourselves. Like that was like
Dude.
one of us each.
Yeah.
Like 2 dinner boxes
That's
between
intense.
2 guys.
Yeah.
That was a lot. So to give you an idea of scope and scale, so then this story I did not bear witness to, but is absolutely the truth. And then I've got my absolute coup de grace at the end of this, which is just incredible. So Bradley ate, what was it, a 2-pound meatball? Is that what it was?
Yes.
Yeah.
2-pound meatball. I was there for that day. He ate a 2-pound meatball, and then because we wanted to see how far we could push him. Yeah, we wanted to see how far we could push him.
Describe a hog trough to me.
3 banana splits. So I basically ate a whole banana split by myself.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah,
excellent.
so he ate 2 pounds of meatball, and then
With spaghetti.
And
nachos.
It was a handful of spaghetti.
And nachos. Yeah.
And my favorite part of this story is you proceeded to vomit on a plant after that, and the plant is still dead, and it's a perennial.
Yeah, no, the plant's dead, and my wife witnessed you. She got
Cluck
so
like a
excited.
chicken.
She got so excited to hear Bradley vomit because my wife is beautiful and lovely and a little bit bizarre. She wanted to hear Bradley vomit so bad. She was disappointed when I wouldn't let her listen to me vomit in the dating career. That she got excited when Bradley vomited. So she went outside and we were watching a movie at the time, and she came running back inside, flushed in the face with excitement, and saying, "He clucked like a chicken!"
Now, to emphasize this, the reason that happened was it was such a volume amount of stuff coming out that I could not breathe. And the reason I clucked was I was trying to suck in air so hard because I hadn't breathed in like a minute and a half that when the thing it did a weird where it kind of lowered and raised back up and it caused my whole throat to go.
Oh.
And that's what she heard.
Well,
she almost listened to you drown in your own bile, and then she was like, "So exciting!"
So but and I really can't emphasize this enough. Vomit is basically entirely organic matter. It is literally just whatever you ate plus a little bit of stomach acid.
Yeah.
Whatever is in your stomach is so stinking powerful that you kill the perennial bush. It's been a year or more, and the bush is still dead.
Okay. Yeah. Bradley, do you want to lead us through your highlight reel of inedible things?
Oh, I've got one more.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you're going to hit the inedible.
One more. By coup de grace, we are just sitting around doing nothing in particular the one day. And he begins, he had a can of, what was it, like Mountain Dew, I think?
Yeah, probably.
It doesn't, the substance within does not matter. He begins to just peel the can and crumple up small pieces of aluminum and eat them. I do not mean chew and spit. I mean he consumed metal. To this day, no idea where it went. You were fine.
Yeah.
You're a goat. You just dissolved metal in your
He's
stomach.
the greatest of all time.
So if we're talking strictly inedible, my wife and I, we have this back and forth all the time. She says that I eat a lot of inedible things. I say, well, if I ate it, clearly it's edible.
Not the definition of inedible.
Yeah.
It means that it has no nutritional value.
Well, I mean, there's a lot that could technically apply to that people eat.
You're way too proud of yourself.
You're justifying yourself way too much here.
Okay. So, the kind of weird but kind of normal would be glue, because everybody's done that. Pine cones.
Have not.
Okay, you can't tell me in elementary school you didn't lick a glue stick.
No.
I just took it the step forward and ate the whole stick.
What?
You just listened to two people deny that was ever a thing, and you're like, and then I just
hang on. Let me double down for a sec. What?
Boy.
I drank Germex. That was fun.
That I feel like a lot of people have done. How much?
No. The container that's big, about half to a quarter to half of it.
That's still too much. I meant lick and taste to find out I wonder how bad it is.
No. Take it, squeeze. What? Just do shots, man.
Bradley spent his whole life trying to impress his friends by what he consumes.
Erasers, pencils, both wood and plastic, cans.
I can relate to the wood thing.
I
tried to chew my way to freedom through a crib when I was a kid. I got pictures. I'll bring them in.
I think one of my favorites will always be just. Okay, so yeah, like I said, erasers, pencils, the aluminum cans. There's just so much. It's
okay.
Paper.
Lots
and
of paper. Yeah.
And I feel like everybody's done paper.
Chewed, yes. Swallowed, coin toss.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I eat my fortune cookies paper if I want them to come true.
If there's one,
you see. So here's the thing. I found out about that, and I've never been happier in my life. That I have a legitimate reason to eat paper. I just throw the whole thing in now, man. Just throw two chews and just down. I've never been
whether or not you want the fortune to come true.
I'm just so happy I have a justified reason to eat paper.
I made that up, right? That's not a real thing. I just made it up while I was working at Mystic Mountain.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
okay.
And you do know that eating paper and eating shoe leather is that's a thing that the guys who got trapped in prison in Hurricane Katrina did. That's not
I
haven't eaten shoes yet. I haven't stooped that low.
I've seen you look pretty hungrily at a couple though. I know you're thinking about it.
I'm looking at your shoes right now.
Yeah, I think that wraps up about everything.
Okay. Well, Bradley, I found the man to whom you derive your powers from, and maybe one day you might be able to match him in scope and scale. Because Bradley, you're playing you're playing an easy game. Okay, right now you've been on easy mode this whole time. You have not matched the level of the Frenchman Tarrare. Now, part of the legend of Tarrare is that nobody knows what Tarrare's real name is because he got kicked out of his house so early. And nobody knows when his real birthday is because, again, he doesn't really know. See, he got kicked out of his house when he was eating his own body weight in beef every day. Yes, that's right. At the age of 17, he'd eat a quarter of a cow every day, and his parents decided that was too much to feed him. So they kicked him out of the house. Really, we're going to pick up the story, I would say, close to the end of his life. And then we can kind of go back through the highlights. But it's really, I would say, it's a story between Tarrare and a French physician named Perry. Okay? Now, imagine this. You're Perry, you're working on the frontline hospital during the French Revolution.
Okay.
One of many. And you've got people coming in all the time with all sorts of different injuries. So this is this is the late 18th century. So we're talking Civil War era. I'm sorry, not Civil War era, Revolutionary War era. So we're talking musket shots or equivalent, right? So people are coming
trying
in
to get guillotine injuries restitched, you know.
Yeah. So people are coming in every day with all sorts of horrific injuries.
Yeah.
Well, they bring in this incredibly skinny man, okay, who he has so much loose stomach skin that he can wrap it around his abdomen all the way around, okay? When he's hungry, he can like wrap his stomach skin around. He has a wider than normal mouth, okay? And his smell is so bad that it's reported that people couldn't be within 20 feet, 20 paces of him because he smells so odorous that nobody can stand to be inside of his presence. Now, he joined the French Revolution, okay, to be a soldier. But here's the thing. He couldn't live off of the rations that they were giving him. Everybody has the same rations. He cannot do it. So he's legit stealing people's rations. They catch him going into the dumpsters, into the trash pits, literal dung heaps they found him rummaging for food for because he's so desperate for food. And now he's starting to get lethargic and tired. He's super tired, so they send him to Perry. Okay? Now, Perry decides that he wants to test to see just how much this man can eat.
Oh, no.
So he starts to do experiments.
Oh, no.
He makes for him a meal set for 15 people at the time, including 2 full meat pies, dishes of salt and grease, which we don't know what that means, and literal 4 gallons worth of milk. The man eats it all within like 30 minutes and then falls asleep afterwards, right? Now, keep in mind that after he eats, his skin gets super hot, he sweats a lot, and his smell increases. Also, reported that all the way through his lifetime, he's just a constant fount of diarrhea. Okay? Just a constant. Now, at this point, right, at this point, Tarrare, they want to know how much this man can eat and what he does. So they give him a live cat. He literally like rips it in half and drinks the blood and then consumes everything but the bones and then vomits out the skin and hair later. He eats live mice and snakes, all for the purposes of science. They're all feeding him these things. And then it's reported that he's still not getting enough food, so he sneaks around the hospital and eats just medicine. He's desperate to just fill his stomach with something. He's just eating medicine. So, yes. Now, if you're the French army, no. Before we get to his service in the French army, which he has a very important role inside of the French Revolution to play, let's go over a little bit of what
professional composter.
mulch diggums.
Yes.
Okay,
Perfect.
Let's go up to the moments that led up to this moment. Okay.
Okay.
His family kicked him out at the age of 17. So what does he do? Well, he's desperate for cash, so he joins up with a gang of thieves and prostitutes. Don't ask me what that means because that's all it says, but he
Sounds like the plot of an Assassin's Creed game.
he joins up with them and then keeps the crowd distracted by just eating random stuff. No, he eats corks, he eats gravel, he eats rocks, he eats tin cans.
I have done rocks.
He eats live mice and snakes, which he says snake meat was the best meat. He does all of this, and then the thieves just go amongst the ranks of the people who are gobsmacked at what this man is putting inside of his mouth. And just, make off like bandits, right?
Rob them blind.
Right. Well, eventually, a charlatan picks him up as the crowd getter for his act. So he comes in and he gets the crowd together by just eating stuff. And then eventually, Tarrare thinks, why am I doing this for the man when I could do this for myself? And he breaks off on his own, which goes great for him until his first hospital visit, where he finally ate something that could not go through his stomach. So he goes into the French hospital for a bowel obstruction, and they just load him full of super powerful sedatives. And then he just poops his ever-living brains out, right? Now, the doctor tried to convince him, please stop this. This is chronically unhealthy for you. And he said, I will eat your watch and chain and poop it out so you can see that it is perfectly healthy, to which the doctor said, I will cut it out of you if you do that, so don't.
Well, wait. They've been doing all of this for science. Watch and chain, that would be a perfect way to gauge how much time it takes for things to pass.
No. This is before he went to
This is
This is before he went to the medical hospital.
Horrified.
Yeah.
Which, for those who couldn't see me have a full-blown breakdown off camera, I was literally sweating and crying for like a minute.
Just like Tarrare. Now, the thing is that after that, he joined the army because he wanted the rations, and then realized that they weren't going to feed him near enough. So, flash forward back to the hospital. The French army decides that they have the perfect job for Tarrare. They have him swallow a box with a message inside of it. And 30 hours later, he poops out the box. They take the box, they open it, message still intact. So now they think, we've got a perfect way of smuggling messages across the enemy lines. So they take Tarrare and they say to him, now they tell Tarrare that this is a real run. It's not. And it's going to break bad for him. So at this point, the French are fighting the Germans, okay? So he sneaks across the enemy line dressed as a German peasant. Primary problem, he doesn't speak a lick of German. Second problem, he smells so bad. He literally gets picked up by the Germans as soon as he crosses the border, okay? And once they realize that he's a Frenchman, they put him into jail and they start beating him up, okay? Now, we don't know how long he lasted underneath torture before he finally revealed that he had a terrible secret hiding inside of his stomach, a message meant for a general hidden in prison. So they chain him to a chair and wait for him to poop it out. They poop it out, and out comes the message, from the French, supposedly top secret, that says, "Hey, General, did you get this? We're just testing out this message of communication." Did you get our poopogram? Hi, General. Did you get our poopogram? So, yeah. The French were so mad that they were going to kill him, but I guess they decided not to. And he comes back to the French a broken man, okay? He comes up to Perry this time and he says, "You have to cure me. Do anything that you can. Just make me stop being a gobble monster," okay? So they try a number of things to cure him. They make him swallow tobacco pills to make his stomach so upset that he doesn't want to eat things. Doesn't work. They try, just a number of old-timey medicines.
Yeah.
Well, he was in the hospital for a while. No difference really inside of that process. But then people started to get worried because things started disappearing inside of the hospital. Medicine, old bodies.
Yep.
A 14-year-old child, a 14-month-year-old child. And it's at this point that the whole hospital kind of revolts. They can't prove that he did anything, but they don't want to keep him around, so they kick him out. Okay?
That is the perfect crime.
Swallowing children.
Not anymore. They have x-rays, so don't think about it. Okay. But they, Perry does not hear from Tarrare again for 4 months. I'm sorry, for 4 years. Until he's doing his rounds inside of the hospital and a nurse comes up to him and says, "Hey, one of your old patients wants to talk to you." And there is Tarrare sitting inside of a hospital bed, languishing in pain because he says 2 years ago he swallowed a gold fork and he's sure that the gold fork just didn't go through and he's suffering a bowel obstruction from this gold fork. Pierre actually says, "No, my dude, you're in late stage tuberculosis."
R.I.P.
You're in late stage tuberculosis. Don't know what to tell you on that one. And a month later, he pooped himself to death in one last final exultant.
Was the gold fork in the poop?
Okay. Well, now we need to get to the sad final thing, which is his autopsy.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Most of the hospital said, "No, do not do that." I kid you not. He stunk so bad. The people in the hospital didn't want to open up that dumpling to find out what the innards smelled like. Okay. But Perry, who has spent so much of his time, he wants to know what made the Gobble Man work, right?
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
He cuts him open and finds that his jaw is literally wider than the average human. So he can just swallow things just whole. And his whole throat, they could look down his throat and see a straight shot from his throat straight down to the bottom of his stomach. Like that whole thing was just like a big open tube. And his liver and gallbladder were filled with pus, and it was really gross inside of there, but they never found a gold fork. So he did poop that out. He just didn't know it. So imagine being that man.
Well, and like, okay, so context. In high school, I thought I wanted to go into med.
Mm-hmm.
I did a stint at a local, like a week-long summer camp stint at a local medical college. And one of the things that we did was we spent a full day in the cadaver lab, right? Super cool, for the record. It was actually like really awesome. I had this crazy moment where I realized I was definitely not meant for med because I was holding like a human brain in my hands, and everybody else was like, "Look at the lobes and look at this, and the cerebellum is so cool." And I was like, "This is a person," and I was like, I'm probably going to go into something more in the arts.
I'm probably going to go into worship.
Right? I'm going to go work for the church, I think. But so anyway, the thing about this, so people understand how freaking weird it is that people did not want to open this guy up, how bad it was. I kid you not, all of like the college students and the interns, like the first thing that they tell you going to the cadaver lab, they're like, once you spend enough time in here, you get to the end of your workday and you just begin voraciously craving beef jerky. Like all of them. For the record, this is not a weird niche cannibal colony. Like, they all get done and they're like, yeah, let's go have some Slim Jims, I guess. So for these guys to not want to open him up, it's like heinous.
Now, also, some people at home might be wondering, Josh, you're the conspiracy theory corner, and you're right. Did I just tell this story because I wanted to talk about who I was pretty sure was Bradley's ancestor? No, I definitely have a conspiracy theory here. The hollow earth
God.
had to be made hollow somehow. What if the hollow earth was made hollow by... And Ian Colfer knew all about a subrace of humans.
This is mulch diggums. Oh my God.
It's all connected.
A subrace of humans who could gobble the world from the inside out. He ate rocks and he ate dirt.
And he ate babies.
And just the things that you find at the center of the earth.
It makes sense. End to end. And I say those words very intentionally. Because here's the thing. You know how mulch gets around quickly?
By eating.
And then crapping himself. There's a propulsion-like component in the back end of that process.
It's
He
true.
opens the flap and soars. Oh, God. Oh,
So
no.
my conspiracy is this. Bradley, do you come from a race of humans who were sentenced by God because of sin to eat around the hollow earth?
I always related to
Dulch Miggums.
to mulch diggums whenever I read those stories. Like, everybody else was like, I'm Artemis Fowl. I was like, nah, I'm the dwarf.
Do you know who I related with inside of those stories?
What's that?
The sad trolls who are just there and dumb, and everybody hates them. So yes, my conspiracy theory is that, Bradley, I think your ancestors dug out the hollow earth with their mouth. And that's why we have such sophisticated tunnels.
Just because I'm having an existential crisis, is this a real guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
This actually happened.
Oh, no. I can... this was, he was 70, he was 26 when he died, so he didn't live long, but he was well documented.
2 more years. Actually, one more year.
Oh my
now.
gosh, Bradley, that was grim.
This is simultaneously my favorite segment of the show and something I could totally live without.
Oh man. Well, with that
Okay, so what do we rate my theory that Bradley comes from a breed of humans who made sophisticated tunnels?
I like
to
it. I'm out of 4 with that. I like that. That's believable.
I feel physically unwell. This is a 5. I don't know if it's the cold brew or this or both, but I feel sick.
I mean, obviously, 5 out of 5. I believe that Bradley is related to a breed of dwarves.
You're just in that stage where like your powers are coming out of dormancy and you're just beginning to experiment.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Beware, my children. They will consume the earth.
If I find you trying to vor a gravel pit, I'm moving away. That's it. I'm moving to another state.
You just see Bradley inside of a gravel pit, like mouth first in the dirt, butt out in the air, trying to channel it as a streamlined process.
Oh man. You got a question for us, Steven?
So many, if I'm being honest.
You got a curated one for us, though?
Yeah. Hang on.
Oh.
Oh. Okay. So. This is what it looks like to see a man pushed to the edge.
I'm on the edge.
So this is going to be a delightfully tame question, actually. So this should be a nice palate cleanser for our AI story. This should be super chill, I hope. I really hope. Let's take the Tarrare off the table, just because I can't handle more of this. That being said, our Quora user, and this is actually Quora this time instead of Reddit. I found this on there. I thought it was delightful. I thought it was very light, and I thought it would just be a nice way to close out the summer as we're heading into the fall. Indeed. Pick for yourself an entity to bring with you on vacation and where you would vacation. This is completely personal, something you're doing it purely for your own enjoyment. I'm not going to put any limitations or barriers on this. You can go anywhere that you want. You can go when that you want, for all I care. And you can bring any entity that you want with you. The thing is, you can only bring one, and you can only pack what you need for the week. Where are you going? Who are you going with?
So, I wasn't sure how to bring this up, but I think this is a great opportunity to bring up an experience that I've recently had that I think is darn near spoopy. And I would bring this individual, or this entity, I should say, on a vacation with me for a very specific reason. So it was Monday night, this past Monday. And wife and I were on the couch watching TV. All of a sudden, I hear a knock at my door. And I'm confused because it's like 9:30 at night. I open the door, and 10 to 12 feet away, I see a figure in all black and white polka dots, T-pose, scream, "Have some donuts," and run away. To which I can only mutter, "Thank you." And then I took the donuts and I ate them.
You took donuts from a stranger? He T-posed on you and you said, "Oh, let me put that in my gullet."
Yes. And so I would take that
Bradley, who taught you? How are you still alive? What the heck? Oh my gosh. It would take nothing to assassinate you.
No, I would like to point out it was a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts minus 2. So
yeah, they were even opened.
And there's only one remaining now.
He on you and you said yes. Oh, I'll take your leftovers.
So yeah, I would grab that entity and we'd go on vacation, mainly just because I'd get free donuts out of it. Probably go somewhere, remote.
Where he can chop you up? Definitely a serial killer. He probably put strychnine in it, but your advanced mulch Jigum's metabolism kept you from dying. And he was like, "What do I do now?"
Well, no, because see, here's the thing. Because we'd be in the middle of nowhere, and I'd be like, "I really want some Krispy Kreme," and this character would just go,
"Got you, fam."
Yeah, and just grab some, come back, T-pose, and boom, 10 donuts.
So are we telling the truth about this?
That's up to you.
So,
what the heck?
So the other night, my wife and I are in Walmart, and we were just on date night, and we just happened to stop at Walmart because it's what you do when you're poor. You just walk around Walmart and you just buy random stupid crap because it's fun. And we bought adult onesies with the hoods and everything, and I got a Jack Skellington onesie. And I don't remember what my wife got. I think it was Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. It was not a couples thing. Oh, you got pictures?
Yep.
Oh, Grace sent you. Okay.
Yep.
I was like, how did you manage to photograph us before we ran away? And then we stopped, and because Grace wanted Krispy Kreme, and I was like, all right, we'll get a dozen donuts. And we ate 2 of them. And she was like, it'd be really funny. And I talked her out of doing this, so you can thank me for that now. She was like, what if we just stopped at Bradley and Teresa's house, down the street, and we just ran up and very quietly. And what if we just stared in their windows until they noticed us and then screamed and ran away? What if we just scared the ever-loving crap out of our friends?
What if we just hid in a spot where the police could find us and then definitely 100% arrest us for trespassing?
If we're lucky. And so I was like, what if...
Honey, do you want to get tased tonight?
So I was like, what if we left donuts on their doorstep and we just T-posed and bowed to the donuts and ran away? Because that's mildly less threatening than just staring in your windows like absolute predators.
Now, I will say, though, I did open the door, and, I did have a small come to Jesus moment, because you were...
You did.
Yeah, because you were far enough away that you were kind of in the dark, and, the shadows from the door were casting on you just right that I couldn't exactly make out who it was. All I just seen was like tall, lanky figure, T-pose, and then start booking.
Yep, it's true. Dude, I saw the look on your face. The door opened very slowly, and like, you know the behavior of a person saying to someone else, being like, move slowly, stay calm, don't make any sudden movements. That is exactly what you looked like. You looked like someone who had just seen a freaking grizzly bear out their front door and been like, oh. You look like when somebody opens their front door and there's a raccoon rifling through the garbage. You look like the raccoon just looking up, trying to decide, how do I feel this?
Oh, and I think my favorite part of that whole exchange was my thank you, to which Grace died laughing. She's like running away.
Okay, now I want you to understand this, that if you ever did this at my house, my wife, A, would never talk to any of you ever again.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, B, I'd have to get a work from home job. So just whenever she was at home, you would ruin her ability to ever feel safe inside of the house ever again.
See, I'm worried that if you were home, that like some dormant part of you that lives in your hypothalamus, that is just 100% your father, would activate, and you'd stick out both of your hands and pistols would just materialize from thin air. Oh, and then you just close casket me.
Just like Death the Kid from
from
Full Metal Alchemist. Soul Eater. Wow, boy, was I wrong.
Well, yeah. You know why you're thinking of FMA? I know exactly why you're thinking of FMA, because the entire time you were describing Tarrare, I was like, that's gluttony.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
That is gluttony.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway.
Who are you taking on vacation with you, Josh?
Slenderman.
Just like Bradley, I suppose.
I want Slenderman. Okay, first off, he's the OG, so that's great. Second off, I'm not a kid. He's not going to kidnap me and do nefarious things.
True.
With me.
Yeah.
Third.
Other kids might kidnap you and do nefarious things because they're jealous.
Whatever.
Fair enough.
They're not apes. It's
They're not
fine.
Sasquatch.
They're
Josh has
humans.
a
They're
very-
not primates.
Oh man, there are all sorts of primates out here tonight.
Bro.
They're not primates. It's fine.
It's all good. Where are you taking him? Where are you going?
I want to go.
To the beach.
I'm gonna go to Sandals, Jamaica with Slenderman.
Yeah, bro.
We're gonna just enjoy
I thought that was
ourselves.
going to be our trip.
Tell you what, I have been to Sandals. It is great. You will not regret anything. Just don't drink the tap water and you'll be fine.
Okay, great. Well, Bradley, you can go with us. It's not a mutually exclusive
Can
trip.
I bring the donut man?
No, no, you can't. Okay, he needs to leave that one seat at home. 100%. If anybody left food on my doorstep without first declaring themselves, I am 100% moving house. And I'm not telling anybody where I'm going.
Just dropping all contact.
Here's the thing, though. Like, after this exchange, and this is just the difference between your wife and my wife looks at me and goes, we need to do this to them tomorrow. And I'm like, whoa! And then she also looks at me and goes, can we get matching onesies? And it's like, babe, you don't want to see this in a onesie.
Bro, she does such a good job of just matching energy, man. She's like, you know what? I'm here for it. Like, let's go.
Oh, we need to get you a red Power Ranger suit, bud.
Yes. So, I'll have you know, I know exactly where I'm between.
Are you
two
bringing
things.
Tarrare?
I am not. It's not in a million years. Sorry, man.
Are you bringing Tarrare's great grandson? Because apparently he's bringing you.
I could be convinced. So, that being said, I'm stuck between two. I either want to take a siren to the Atlantis Water Park Resort in Cancun because, as friends, for the record, we would go as friends, like platonically.
Some men just want to watch the world burn, Mr. Wayne.
Burn. So, but I would be there for the water slides And I would also be there to wingman so that she could get her fill and massacre as many people possible at the swim-up bar while I sit there and I sip very childish slushy drinks at the swim-up bar and reenact all of the dreams I had as a 10-year-old of doing that. Just being at a swim-up bar, honestly.
Okay, hold it.
And water slides. Because water slides.
Steven, every so often you say things on the podcast that I'm not sure you want on the record. Like, right now you just confessed to, as a 10-year-old, wishing and fantasizing that you had a friend siren who would lead dozens of men off
Not
to
that
their...
part. Just the swim-up bar part. I just have very simple dreams.
Yeah.
I just have very simple low bar to clear dreams. That's all.
It was between that one and the Freedom Story where you're like, we all have had fantasies about one day just letting us go hog bananas and grab a sledgehammer. Go bananas.
Did that make that into the...
Yes, it did.
Oh, man. Oh, that's good.
I think it did anyways.
Oh, well, it's on the record now. So what are we going to do? So here's my second option, which is perhaps the more wholesome one. And you're going to hate this, Josh.
Sasquatch. It's Sasquatch.
Sasquatch, actually, yes. But hear me out, because this would
Harry
be
and the Hendersons.
This would be the cutest thing ever and the coolest buddy cop comedy thing I think you could possibly do. I would want to go to a murder mystery horror night at the Ice Hotel.
Okay, you just won it. You just swung it for me. Yeah,
Like,
100%.
wouldn't that be awesome? Could you imagine buddy cop comedy with me and Sasquatch in the Ice Hotel with the fur pelts and the all of it, doing like the whodunit?
It
Would that not be the coolest
only
day of
thing
your
better.
life?
It would be like a much cheesier Millennium Falcon.
Yes, dude.
Only thing
What
better.
do you think, Sasquatch?
Maybe that's why I feel so good about Sasquatch. Maybe I just really like Chewbacca.
Only thing better. Murder mystery with a werewolf. Full moon. You and the werewolf out. He's half wolf, half man in a leather jacket. You and him out there just cracking beers and solving crimes.
I do like the idea of broing down with Lupin. That's hard to beat.
Dude.
Like,
I might change
real?
mine. I'm sorry, Slender Man. You cool, you lanky and all, but
Lupin.
I'm still sticking with Donut Man.
Bro. You're entitled to that.
Okay.
next thing we know, we're going to go into fandom.wiki and then we're going to just find a whole entry for Donut Man.
If somebody does that, I think we have to invite them on the show.
Oh,
A
yeah.
seemingly benevolent spirit.
If somebody puts in the work to put Donut Man into the creepypasta canon, like on the wiki, I will personally invite you to the show. I will invite you to dinner at my house.
Well, there it is, folks.
Oh, man. Well,
You found out, how to easily take out one podcast member by just having drug-laced donuts and leaving them on the doorstep because apparently the Gobble Man will eat it. Second off, you just need to make the Donut Man real, and then you can take out the other one, and then you just need to mention monkeys around me and I will be gone. Or just leave food on my doorstep and I will be gone.
I also love the fact that the poison that you went to in the back of your head, like, this just lives in your short-term memory. Who thinks of strychnine first? That was a very antiquated response.
Well, you know, you have to have your little poison ring that you...
That is really... Okay, fair enough. You know?
well, moving on to my favorite part of the podcast, the end.
The part where we all go home.
But no.
Bradley's favorite part of the podcast, the part where he gets to go home and disassociate himself.
No, in all honesty, thank you for making it through this episode. It's always been it's always a pleasure to just spend this time and talk about all the scary adjacent things that happen in this world that we call home.
Or sometimes actually just real scary. I'm sorry, but Donut Man lives in my head rent free now.
I just ask that you please like, subscribe, comment, just interact in some way because it really does help the algorithm, help us to be able to make sure we're providing content that you all really enjoy.
There are people in the world that exist who have not experienced this yet. Whether
Actually,
for better or worse.
Weirdly enough, the vast majority of people in the world
Have not experienced
this yet.
You're holding on to a golden magical nugget and you haven't shared that with your friends. Do you really want your friends to get to the end of their lives and not know what this was like?
Okay. Also, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it here. Look, I love this show and I love you people. all of you who listen here, you're like a friend to me now because you share this weird, unique thing that nobody else, except for these two other maniacs here with me, share. It's this love of the things that are kind of scary, but not actually scary, right?
Right.
We are a rare breed of people, and we need to surround ourselves with each other and protect each other.
Let's not fit in together.
Yeah,
exactly.
We're a family together, and inside of that regards, introduce us to the other ones, right? We need to go around. We need to make a community. We'll be a real stalwart fast friends.
Exactly.
Yeah. That one buddy that watches ghost watching shows, I guarantee you at least half of why they do it is because they want to believe, and the other half is because it's really funny. And we live right at that intersection.
Oh my gosh, Ghost Adventures is what I want to watch if I want to. That's my comedies.
Yeah.
Well,
anything with Zach Baggins.
Well, let's close this out the way that we always close
After
out our
he
Wonder
crawled
shows.
out of the hollow earth. That's right. Zach Baggins crawled out of Middle Earth. The great grandchild of Frodo Baggins.
So let's wrap up this episode like we wrap up every
Crawled
other.
out of the hole that Bradley's ancestors made. Gobbling their way out from the perfect utopia.
There's a little man holding a small pail full of the happy brain chemical that only dumps it like a water park tiki bucket anytime that you intentionally derail Bradley from trying to accomplish anything. There's just a little dude that just goes,
So Josh,
Yes.
are we ready to wrap this up?
Wrap it up like Zach Baggins wrapped up the career.
Josh, why don't you tell us about this AI-generated story
Okie dokie.
with the wonderful voice stylings of Mr. Kroobs done by Steven.
Steven. Sponge was a normal office worker who had a passion for cryptozoology. He spent his free time reading books and watching documentaries about the mysterious creature like Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, and the Chupacabra. He dreamed of one day seeing them with his own eyes and proving their existence to the world. One day, he got an opportunity to go on vacation to France with his boss, Mr. Kroobs. Mr. Kroobs was a wealthy businessman who owned a chain of fast food restaurants. He was also a notorious glutton who ate everything in sight, regardless of its origin or quality. He had a secret hobby of hunting rare and exotic animals and adding them to his menu. Sponge was excited to visit France and hoped to catch a glimpse of the legendary beast of Geneva I don't know, it's French. A wolf-like creature that terrorized the countryside in the 18th century. He packed his suitcase with his camera, binoculars, and a book about the beast. However, he soon realized that his vacation was not going to be as pleasant as expected. Mr. Kroobs had booked a cheap motel in a remote village near the forest where the beast was said to roam. He also had a sinister plan to lure the beast out of hiding and capture it for his restaurant. Mr. Kroobs told Sponge that they were going to go explore the forest and look for the beast. He gave him a backpack full of meat and told him to follow him. Sponge was suspicious but agreed to go along. They walked for hours in the dark and dense forest, following the tracks and signs of the beast. Sponge was scared but also curious. He hoped to see the beast before Mr. Kroobs did. Suddenly, they heard a loud roar from behind a bush. Mr. Krabs smiled and whispered to Sponge,
"We found him! Quick, throw some meat over there and get your camera ready."
Sponge did as he was told and threw some meat over in the bush. He took out his camera and waited for the beast to appear. To his horror, he saw it was not a wolf-like creature, but a huge, hairy humanid with long arms and legs, a massive head, and glowing red eyes. It was Bigfoot. Sponge gasped and dropped his camera. He didn't believe his eyes. He always wanted to see Bigfoot, but not like this. The Bigfoot grabbed the meat and devoured it in seconds. It then looked at Sponge and Mr. Krabs with a hungry expression. Mr. Krabs laughed and said,
Sponge boy me, Bob. What a magnificent specimen. This will make a fine addition to my menu. Come on, Sponge. Let's catch it.
He took out a net and tranquilizer gun from his backpack and ran towards the Bigfoot. Sponge was paralyzed with fear and disbelief. He wanted to stop Mr. Krabs, but he didn't move. The Bigfoot roared again and swung its arms at Mr. Krabs, knocking him to the ground and sending his net and gun flying. Mr. Krabs screamed as the Bigfoot grabbed him by the legs and dragged him into the bush. Sponge heard a crunching noise and a blood-curdling screams from behind the bush. He realized that Mr. Krabs was being eaten alive by the Bigfoot. He felt a surge of panic and ran away from the scene as fast as he could. He didn't stop running until he reached the motel. He locked himself in the room and tried to forget what he had seen. He wondered if anyone would believe him if he told them what had happened. He wondered if he'd ever see Bigfoot again. He'd wondered if he'd ever sleep again.